guys, we're back here in my workshop. My name's Colin Way. So today we're going to look at turning your first bowl. You've got your new lathe, your new chuck. We're going to mount this bowl blank on and turn a nice bowl. This is a piece of elm, and what I've already done is attached a faceplate ring onto the bowl blank, and then we can expand these jaws into the faceplate ring. So here goes. So we're going to use the chuck key. Just close the chuck up to start with, and then we can pop the faceplate ring over and expand. There's a little dovetail recess in there that it grips into. There we are, all ready to go. Okay, so we're going to start by just truing up the outside of this bowl blank. So at the moment it's not running true. I want to make sure it's nice and even. So tool rest is along the edge. I'm going to turn the lathe on, stand back just a bit, and then we're going to turn the lathe up. I'm going to go up here to 1,000 revs if it lets me. And you'll know if it doesn't let you, the machine will start moving around a little bit. So now we're going to skim the outside edge away. Handle nice and low. Okay, so the next job is to clean the face up as well. So we're going to bring the tool rest around that front surface. Again, we've got to make sure nothing's touching the tool rest. I'm just going to put a little pencil mark on center. Okay, so as long as I'm below center, I can use the bowl gouge to run across the surface. And we're just going to skim with the bottom edge of the gouge, flute facing around about 10 o'clock. And what will happen, each cut you'll get flatter and flatter. And I think we're about there now. We've got a nice round, even blank all ready to start shaping. Okay, so on this one we're going to create a recess and expand the chuck into the recess. That's going to be our whole point. So I need to measure the recess. I've already set my dividers to the right size for those jaws we're using. And this is the C jaws. Now once I've done that, I'm going to start the recess with my parting tool, and I'm going to take this recess down to about sort of 5 to 6 mil, about 1/4 of an inch. We'll do a couple of cuts. There we are. And then with the bowl gouge, once again, we're just going to clear away that waste without the bevel rubbing this time. So flute facing about 2 o'clock, just toward the center. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is if I come this way and pull it out, I'm going to start hitting this really important edge here. So we're going to come away from that important edge. There we are. Now I'll get the bevel rubbing, we'll just do a finishing cut there. And then to finish that recess off, we're going to use the skew chisel and its natural dovetail shape to create a dovetail for the internal part of our jaw. There we go. This is going to sit on its own foot, this bowl. So even though we have a recess, we're going to make a foot about there. And I'll just clean up that bottom, just with the skew, just using the skew as the scraper, just nice and gentle. There we are. And then it's all back to that bowl gouge again. And now we're going to start taking waste away. So pulling toward you. Going to move the tool rest out a little bit further now, and as you start making or taking that corner away, you can start pivoting the tool rest around. There, so that's the basic shape. At the moment though, that surface is not a clean one because I've only used a roughing cut. I want to now do a push cut, which is going to clean the finish up. So we'll adjust the tool rest again. My handle now is going to come over here and we're going to rub the back of the tool. I think we can turn the lathe speed up a little bit now as well. That'll help. And then bevel rub, bring the handle round till you get the contact area. Then push up the length of the chisel, let it slide. So there we are, you can see how clean that is now and all ready for sanding. Okay, so I'm going to start sanding now, and I'm using 4 grades of abrasive here. I'm using a 100, 150, 240 and then a 400. And then we're going to put a coat of finishing oil on this one. So starting off with the 100, dust extractors on and close, taking all of the dust. The first grit is really, really important. That's the one that's going to take away all the nasties, all the tears, turning lines if you have any. So stick for a while with this one. Now we can move on to 150, now 240, and then finally on to 400, so really quite a fine abrasive. So there we are, that one's all ready to put a coat of oil on. And we're going to use finishing oil on this one. This particular make is a Liberon finishing oil. The way we use this, we're going to apply it directly with a brush to a good saturation point. There we are, let that soak in, then we'll wipe off the excess and give it a bit of a burnish, then with a bit of tissue. So I'm going to turn the lathe speed down before I start the lathe because it's quite wet still. Then we can start burnishing with the same tissue just for the moment. This will take a few hours to dry, so we're going to have to turn the inside and then it will give it a rebuff once we've finished the inside. And that's the outside finished. Okay, so we've done the outside of the bolt. Now we need to turn him over so we can do the inside. So it literally is a case of just closing the chuck. That releases the faceplate ring. We can expand into our dovetail that we've turned. There we are. And it's the correct size. I've measured that already. And we can now take off our faceplate ring. Just undo the screws. And we're gonna now just adjust the tool rest so it's up against the face of that bowl blank. Just making sure nothing's touching the bowl blank. And before I start, so I don't get any surprises, I'm just turning my lathe speed down to the lowest speed it can go to before we start. Okay, so to start with, we're just going to clean up this edge here. So with the bowl gouge, and my speed, I'm going to again get up to about 1,000 revs. There we are. Flute of the gouge facing toward 2 o'clock. There we are, so we've got that edge nice and crisp and clean. There's no problems with it. We know where we are in terms of depth. Now we can move on to taking the center out. So we're going to start right up close. Our first cut, you just need to have a little bit of a pause, let a shoulder form, and then you can push the bevel of the tool against it. So I'm pushing from my right hand up and swinging the handle round as it moves forward. Same again. Same again. There we are. I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper at the moment. If I keep going, I'll end up going through the bottom of the bowl. So what I'm going to do is take a series of cuts. And those cuts are going to stop at that depth each time. So this is the point where I'm just going to stop the machine, just check for thickness. If you check with calipers, just be careful you don't start scratching anything. I'm just checking to make sure I'm nice and even here. I think I'll do probably 1 or 2 more cuts and then that'll be our thickness. Okay, there we are. I think that's it. We've got a finishing cut going on there, so that's nice and ready to sand. All I need to do now is take the bottom away, and we've got something to feel for thickness, so we're safe knowing that we won't go through the bottom now. So okay, here goes. So again, I'm just going to stop the lathe. I want to check for thickness, seeing am I being consistent with my thickness. If I want to be, of course, you don't have to always be consistent throughout the bowl, but that's not too bad. So we've created the transition there, it's blended in nicely, it just remains for this little bit here to come away. There, I think we should be there. We'll just have a look. We're going to look with our fingers first, so just to make sure there's no blemishes in the middle. feels really nice, then we can have a look at our eyes, and that's okay. Okay, so we're ready to sand now. We're going to use the same abrasive as before. We're going to pay special attention to the end grain up here, and then we can start oiling. So here goes. Just stop every now and again, just to have a check, just to see where you need to work. Okay, so now onto the 150. Onto the 240. And then finally onto our 400. So there we are, all ready to oil. So we're going to do the same thing again, just wipe off some of the excess with some tissue before you start the lathe, just so you don't get covered. Lathe speed down to a nice slow speed and just start burnishing. Not forgetting this time that we're going to burnish the outside again as well. So there we are, your first bowl. If you found this useful, look out for more videos from us to help you on your wood turning journey. And thanks for watching.